All right, let's get into it. Today, we are diving deep into a play that is just electric. It's Dario Fo's masterpiece, Accidental Death of an Anarchist, where a real-life national tragedy gets turned into this absolutely scorching political farce.
So yeah, how does that happen? This one really terrifying question, is what the entire play is built on. It's like a true crime story, right? It just drops you straight into the chaos of 1960s Italy, a time when, the line between who's upholding the law and who's breaking it got seriously blurry. So there you have it, the cold, hard facts. A bombing, an arrest, and then, just 3 days later, a suspicious death in police custody. This isn't just, some historical backstory. This timeline is the engine that drives the whole play. It's a real-life injustice that was just screaming to be put on stage. Okay, so here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll look at the real-life mystery, then the playwright himself, how the play infiltrates the state, satire as a weapon, that fateful choice at the end, and finally, why this play is still such a powerful protest today.
All right, first up, the real-life mystery behind it all. To really get what's going on, we have to understand the political pressure cooker that was Italy back then.
And here's the twist. The police immediately blamed the anarchists. But the truth was it was a neo-fascist group. This wasn't just some mistake, you guys. It was a calculated political move. The idea was to create chaos, blame it on their left-wing enemies, and basically scare the public into wanting a more authoritarian government. It's a textbook move, what they called the strategy of tension.
So who on earth would have the guts to challenge this official story, in public? Well, that brings us to the man himself, Dario Fo.
So who was Dario Fo? Well, he was no armchair activist, that's for sure. His whole life was about political commitment. This is the guy who helped Jewish refugees escape during World War II. He didn't just stay in mainstream theater. He quit to protest censorship. He started his own independent company, taking plays right to working-class folks in factories and community halls. And his work got him in a lot of trouble. We're talking police raids, lawsuits, actual physical attacks. So when he won the Nobel Prize in 1997, it wasn't for writing pretty plays. It was for a lifetime of using laughter as a weapon against power.
And his secret weapon? It was something deep from Italy's theatrical past, commedia dell'arte. Now, if you're not familiar, this isn't some stuffy, highbrow art form. It's loud, it's improvised, it's all about stock characters and masks. It was theater for the people. What Fo did, and this was genius, was he took that classic style and just injected it with modern politics. He created this incredible hybrid of political satire that was totally revolutionary and absolutely hilarious.
Okay, so that brings us to the play itself, and how Fo uses a truly wild character to get inside the system. The main character is just called the Maniac, and he is one of the all-time great characters in theater. Seriously. He's this certified psychotic who is an absolute genius at impersonating people, and his whole mission is to get inside the police station and expose the truth. You're never quite sure if he's genuinely mad or if his madness is just the only logical way to deal with a world that's gone completely insane.
And his method is it's brilliant. First, he gets himself arrested on purpose, right? Then, once he's inside, he impersonates a judge who's there to investigate the anarchist's death. He totally convinces these corrupt cops. And then, this is the best part, he makes them reenact the entire interrogation. He gets them to act out their own crime, all while he's secretly recording their contradictory stories and their confessions. He uses their own system against them.
Which brings us to how the play actually works. How does it use satire as a weapon to tear apart the official story?
So, check this out. The official police explanation for how the anarchist fell out the window was something they called raptus. It's this old psychological term for a sudden psychotic episode that makes you kill yourself. It's just a ridiculous pseudo-scientific word they threw out there to sound official, but it means nothing. The Maniac, of course, hears this word and just runs with it, turning it into this massive running joke throughout the play, showing just how flimsy their whole story is.
And this is how he does it. One of the cops says he grabbed the anarchist's foot as he was falling, and his shoe came off. But the anarchist was found dead with both of his shoes on. So the Maniac just deadpans and asks if maybe the anarchist had 3 feet. It's that kind of dark, brilliant humor. He's not just screaming, "You're liars." He's using logic to expose the absolute absurdity of their lies, and it just completely dismantles their story.
And Fo is so smart about using symbols too. You see these police files everywhere, and they represent how bureaucracy can just create its own reality on paper, no matter what the actual truth is. There's a replica bomb that blurs the line between what's real and what's theater, showing how the state's own tools can be used against it. And then you have the maniac's bags, full of his disguises. They're a symbol for the power of theater itself, the power to change who you are and expose what's really going on.
Okay, so all of this builds to the play's explosive conclusion. And I mean that literally. This is where the comedy kind of fades away, and we, the audience, are left with a really tough choice.
So, at the very end, a journalist named Folletti shows up. She's all about reform. She believes that if you can just expose the truth, through the press, you can fix the system from within. But the maniac? He's pushing for revolution. He says that exposing scandals doesn't change anything. It just lets the state fire a few bad apples and then carry on as usual. The corrupt system itself doesn't change. This is the big debate right at the heart of the play. Do you try to fix the system, or do you have to tear it down?
And the maniac forces the issue. He arms a bomb, handcuffs the corrupt cops, gives the key to the journalist, Folletti, and then just walks out. In the first ending, she hesitates, she can't decide, and she leaves. The bomb goes off, killing the policeman.
But then, the play rewinds. The maniac comes back and says we have to see the other option. So this time, Folletti does what her conscience says is right. She chooses mercy. She unlocks the police. And what do? They immediately grab her, handcuff her to the window, and leave her to die in the explosion. It is such a brutal and shocking moment, and it's a powerful statement about what happens when you place your trust in a corrupt system.
And then the maniac looks right at the audience and says it. Whichever way it goes, you see, you've got to decide. He breaks that fourth wall and puts the problem squarely on us. The play isn't giving you an answer. It's telling you that you have to find one. So, you might be thinking, why does a play about a specific Italian scandal from 1970 still matters so much today? Well, because Fo designed it that way.
Here's the real genius of it. Fo never wanted this play to be a dusty old museum piece. He actually told performers to adapt it. He wanted them to update the jokes, to throw in the names of their own local corrupt politicians, to make it relevant to their time and their place. He built it to be a living, breathing tool for protest.
And, you could see the results. It's been translated into more than 40 languages. It's been performed all over the world for over 50 years. It's constantly being staged as a protest against state violence because its message is, unfortunately, timeless.
Which leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? Dario Fo used the stage to fight lies with a kind of fictional truth. But today, we're living in a world of deep fakes and constant disinformation, where it's harder than ever to know what's real. So what are our tools now? What does it take to be the maniac in the room, to dig for the truth and hold power accountable? Well, like the man said, you've got to decide.